What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage here. This is Snacking and Hanging, the Loading Snacks Podcast, episode 39. I have with me the usual suspects. Speak to the people, Sin.
Hey, what's cracking, everybody? Let's get it going.
And new Joker.
Yo, yo, yo.
How we feeling, fellas?
Pretty good.
Feeling pretty good. A little tired, but pretty good. Yeah, overall.
Tired and good.
Yeah.
Tired and good. So, this week's episode, we're going to discuss a little bit of Gears of War 4. Right, gentlemen?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk about that horde mode a little bit. Then I got a couple surprises we might just throw in towards the end. But that's going to be first and foremost. So I don't think we should hold back, gentlemen. Let's just get right into it. What do we think of Gears of War 4? I'm going to start with you, Joker.
So far, not bad. Not bad at all. It looks good. Give it that right off the break. It looks good.
Okay.
Gameplay so far has been pretty smooth. I guess the only thing that upset me a little bit is the fact that the campaign, you can only do 2-player co-op, which really sucks.
Yeah, you can say that twice.
Which really sucks.
There it is. There's the other one. What about you, Sam?
Well, of course, I agree with him on the the story mode only being able to 2 players, even though it's obviously 3. You've been seeing through everything leading up to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But besides that, the horde mode that we just finished running, and everything, that was actually pretty fun. A little bit of a learning curve you got to get through as far as your bounties and the classes and all that kind of stuff. It's just learning how to do it with a Gears twist on it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's fun. It really is fun. You know what I'm saying? It's just once you figure it out and learning your place and what you're good at and all that kind of stuff and just running with everybody, like it was a lot of fun. I was entertained. I'm looking forward to running it again. So far, I'm really impressed and liking what I'm seeing so far. I didn't do too much of the story mode, just a little bit of prelude so far. But from what I played with that, along with the horde mode that we ran, like I'm looking forward to it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm doing.
I can certainly dig that. I'm gonna start by saying that we beat all 50 waves of horde mode. That's first and foremost.
Just throw that out.
Say that again. Just to say it again for the people.
Oh man. Yeah, we beat all 50 waves of horde mode.
Yes, sir.
It was on casual. It was on casual.
It
Okay?
doesn't matter. For like our second time doing it, we beat all 50.
It was really just our second run through. Shout out to Chris Lightning and Sticks for jumping in and giving us a little extra. But here's what I'm gonna say. Horde mode, we discussed this a little bit while we were playing. Horde mode has some of those hooks. We've kind of seen it with other multiplayer games. It's not quite Mass Effect 3. But this, give us a little money or play and earn a little loot so you can buy these packs, so you can get these cards that give you these bonuses or whatever. And you can only use a certain number of bonuses based on the level that you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's double XP weekend. We smashed 20 waves the first time through, smashed 50 waves the second time through, used the same character class, and I still haven't hit level 3 yet.
Yeah.
This is a problem. It's double XP weekend.
Yeah.
It just feels like
you should be getting more.
I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look, the game is beautiful, no doubt. It plays beautifully. Like, it plays just like it should. Like, it plays the way you remember it. You got to give a lot of credit to the Coalition having to take over from Epic Games. And pick up something that, has been around for a decade, is tried and true, has a lot of fans. People love the series. They're kind of treating it like Judgment never happened, sort of. And so far they've done an excellent job. We only played a little bit of the story mode, and we'll talk about that in a second. But um, clearly there's definitely a push for esports. There's even some advertisements and things for that. But I do feel like it's, I shouldn't say overly difficult. It's not overly difficult. It just is punishing in terms of the reward that you get for playing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
That
it
makes
does.
sense. Yeah.
Like, I feel like that needs to be tweaked a little bit. Because while I think that it's cool to kind of have that carrot on the stick in front of you to make you feel like, man, I want to play some more so I can level up some more. Like, I feel like it should be tweaked a bit more so that it's not, like, right now I feel defeated in the sense that, like, I don't really want to do that again, like, right away. Like, I like when we would play Mass Effect, I would just want to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this, you just went through 50 waves. You spent, like a couple of hours, in digging, and you didn't hit level 3. And level 3 is the first point where you get to use a second bounty option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A second option. So you can have an additional perk. So I feel like the carrot might be a little too far out on the string, if that makes sense. I'm really, really, really close to being level 3, but I'm not. And we're playing with people who overall are like 28 or 29 or higher than that, just like in their overall, from playing versus and stuff like that, not just in horde mode. So we shouldn't just, but you're playing with people that are experienced and that have, a little extra umph with them when they play. And it's kind of like, you did the most there is to do, which is you made it through all 50 waves. So yeah, I'm a little, I have a little bit of issue with that. I think they need to tweak that. That's what I would say. What you guys
No,
think?
I agree. Like, it is ridiculous the fact that since we've been playing since 12 p.m., we've gotten, well, close to 2 levels.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
it's
mean? And we're at
currently
Close.
like 7 in the evening.
7 o'clock. So that is, when you look at it, absolutely ridiculous. Even though as much fun as it is, and it was, that's just in
Yeah,
terms of leveling up your character, that's just asinine.
it's
Yeah, it
disheartening.
is. It is.
It's disheartening, and I say that because here's what I do love about horde mode. What attracts me to the horde mode, other than jumping in with my friends, I love the fact that it's 5 players and we can jump in together and we can run. That's, again, I love co-op, but I'm running as a scout. I'm highly interested in running as one of the other 4 options that there are: the sniper or the soldier or the, whatever. And you only are leveling the character you're using. So if I've been playing
All
for
day.
several hours, managed to beat, all 50 levels of horde mode, and I didn't even hit a high enough level to be able to use my second perk. They give you like in-game cash or credit that you can use to purchase more perk cards. And I earn like $2,000 as far as that's concerned, which when you go in and you look at what it costs you to purchase the packs that have the perks, doesn't really go very far.
Yeah.
So it's disheartening because it's like, yeah, I kind of want to get in, play for a little while with this character, level this, this particular class up, and then I want to try another class. You know what I mean? So I can see if I like that class. I like the class that I'm in, but if I have to devote that much time just to that one class to try to get them to be decent, then I'm not gonna feel like doing that.
Exactly,
It's gonna feel like you're always starting. You're starting
all
from
over again.
from scratch. you know you're going to do that, but it doesn't happen fast enough. Maybe I'm just not that good. I don't know. Maybe I should be playing on a harder difficulty. I'm sure that you get more XP and things like that for playing on a harder difficulty. Maybe it's worth it to boost the difficulty and only make it to wave 10. But then you don't feel the accomplishment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
So
feel like if you're gonna sell packs to unlock the bounties and the skins and all that kind of type of stuff, you know what I mean? Like you need to be able to feel some sense of accomplishment that you're doing when you're playing. And right now,
Agreed.
it's really honestly not there. Like I said, we played for like an entire work shift.
yeah, here's what's crazy about it though, too, is that maybe, just
Mm.
maybe, we're the only ones who really realize that this is a problem yet. I'm saying that because we all got the achievement that popped, and it was a rare achievement. Now, for you all who don't know, Xbox Now, at least if you're in the preview program, they have rare achievements. So if you get an achievement that less than 10% of the people who have played the game have gotten, then it's a different toast notification. It sounds different, and when it pops, it has like a little diamond next to it and shows you what percentage of people have gotten the same achievement that you've gotten.
Okay.
And when that notification pop for finishing all 50 on Horde, when that notification popped, I don't know if you guys read it, but only 3% of the people who have played this game have popped that
So
achievement.
before B goes any further, just understand we're certified. just real talk. No, real talk. Like he just said, like 3%
Right.
of people across Xbox Live has finished all 50 waves. We did it in our
Yeah,
second.
that have played Gears of
Yeah,
War, that have and have
right.
played
We
Gears
did
of
it
War.
in our
Yes.
second try. We are certified.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
game. This is what we do.
Um, let the truth be spoken,
It is. We good at this. We're pretty.
and let the gaming church say amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen. This is what we do.
That is not what I said say, but
Hey,
okay.
but it works.
um, yeah, so that just means to me that either people have given up. They do realize, like, I'm not getting enough out of
True.
this, and they have given up, or maybe people are just finishing the story mode or something like that. Like, again, we jumped in and did this first. We didn't play story
True.
mode right away. We've been
Right.
waiting. And, we're a little late. The game came out technically Tuesday, but if you got the
It
$100
did
one,
come out
which you kind of
Tuesday?
have to do.
No, I'm just forgive me. I'm just still a little bit behind as far as Japan time. I thought it was 2 weeks ago, but it was Tuesday. You're right. You're right.
Well,
If
okay,
you, yeah,
it
I guess.
was Tuesday, but if you purchased the $100
You got
version
it
of it, you got
early.
to start
Okay,
playing
so
on
that's why I'm
Friday.
low. Okay,
Right.
got you. Because I know.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
I'm with you.
we're behind if you
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So either that or the game's just not selling well, which I have a hard
Yeah. I don't
time
believe
imagining.
that.
Because
Yeah.
something
I don't
else,
believe that.
something
Yeah.
else we're gonna discuss a little bit later in this show is that for the third
Third
month in a
month in a row.
row, the Xbox One has outsold the PlayStation 4. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I mean, I have to imagine this game is doing pretty well. I mean, people all over my friends list are playing it. I mean, I'm still jumping in and out of Forza 3, but people are jumping in and playing it. So, and it's reviewing really, really well. So, I think you guys might need to tweak that a little bit, Coalition. If you're out there listening, I would highly recommend just making
Yeah.
a tweak to that. Because you know what? The thing about it is, we do game, and we game relatively hard for technically relatively casual players. And I say that to say that we all have regular jobs.
Real talk.
You know what I
Real
mean?
talk.
We got 9 to 5s and sometimes 2 to 11s. You know what I mean? And
And
some of us work weekends.
right.
You
Some
know,
some people.
so and we
We have
have
kids, families, like all that
right.
kind of stuff that we have to
We
account
got
for. Right. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we gotta. It's not like we don't have anything else to do,
Right.
you know. And then we podcast and film a show and do, you know, all those other
All
things
things in
too. So,
between.
you know, and try to read comic books and watch movies
Yeah.
and see all the Luke Cage and stuff like that. Like, we, you know, we're doing other things. So the truth of the matter is, yes, we jumped in on casual. We beat all 50 waves. Sure, there was a bit of difficulty there. It wasn't too bad. But casual is kind of where I want to be. I don't necessarily want to be on insane, but eventually I'm going to go there.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know. But the point is, for the average person who wants to pick up this game, maybe play through the story mode and then jump in and play Horde. I'm not really into the versus thing. So, but it's cool that you can jump in and do co-op. So again, that's another, you know, tick in the box as far as I'm concerned, that like you don't have to do versus against, you know, other people. You can jump in with some friends and you can co-op versus mode against bots. That's beautiful. Another check in the box.
Oh yeah.
Split screen. You know what I mean? Like, another check in the box. LAN. Like, they're checking all the right boxes, with the exception of only being able to play 2 players through the story, and
Shame.
Yeah.
Horde mode being a little bit too difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like for a person
I don't
who
know. I would say
works a regular
it's
job,
difficult, just as far as the reward / like what you get for completing them. Like the payout
Right.
isn't worth it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Type of deal. Yeah.
It's disheartening to feel like you get through all 50. We're like celebrating, you know. You get through all 50 waves.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to throw
We're
a
like,
party.
yeah, we crushed it. We bust all 50 waves. Da da da, whatever.
50
And the
waves.
achievement pops.
That is
right.
That's an accomplishment. 50 of them.
And right. And then you get to the screen that gives you your experience, and you're like, oh. Like, I didn't even go up a level. I was already level 2 when we started the 50 waves.
Right, and you
And I'm still not level 3. You know what I'm saying? And look, not to throw anybody under the bus, and again, why I like playing a game like this that has classes. I'm running as a scout, okay? Many waves where I had less kills than other players and still had more points. Still topped out the charts. Like, my total score in terms of all 50 waves was higher than everybody else's.
Yeah, we gotta figure out that
Still-
whole thing. So I know it was. You're right. You was getting it, but we
Yeah,
we
I
have
was
to
getting-
figure that, we have to figure
That
that
was, the
out.
only thing you were majorly doing different than us was the fact that you were collecting all the loot.
True.
So I'm
Collecting
guessing,
all the
yeah,
loot.
so
like,
And I
guessing
think as a
maybe
scout,
you got some extra kind of point system because
there's a
of
bonus
that.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
say true,
there's a-
like
there's a
that,
bonus.
It was one round where I was healing everything, and I was like up in the ranks as far as who had the most points
Right.
or whatever. But I didn't kill anybody. I just was going around like repairing stuff the whole time.
Right. Which is, again, it's telling you, we want you to do your job.
Exactly.
You're a scout. Your
Yep.
job is to go out here and collect the money because you get a bonus to the money. You need to go get the money and you need to dump it. Right? And if, you know, you're the engineer, your job is to repair the stuff that's out there. Mind you, for the first 10 waves, we didn't put anything down to be repaired.
Nope.
You know what I mean? We were just collecting money. You know, but there were definitely times when, like, I had a single kill. Now, I'm shooting things. I'm doing damage. It's not like I'm not
You're
helping
getting
at all. I'm
assist,
picking people
right.
up, stuff like that, right? I'm shooting things, but I'd have one kill at the end of a wave. And, like, there was one wave where, Joker, you had, like, 25, 30 kills. You know what I mean? And I had, like, one. And I was, like, second. You know what I'm saying? So there is something to be said for doing the job that you're supposed to do based on the class that you pick. Again, I like that too. I really do. So there's some finagling to do, and maybe it's about, you know, really, really working based on what your class is. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So maybe there's some things that we can tweak or whatever, but
Yeah.
still, I feel like they need to tweak that. It should be a little more rewarding. It should feel, I think, a little bit better in terms of what you get at the end when you. And maybe I'm spoiled from playing Forza. Like, I feel like at the end of every race, you know what I mean? I'm just racking up points and leveling. But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying the game. and definitely enjoying horde mode. Didn't really jump into any verses. Had a chance to play some of that when we played the beta. This looks way better than the beta did. Plays way better than the beta did. What do we think of the story so far, Joker? I know you're a little further than Sin and I are. What are we thinking of the story so far?
So, okay, right now nothing major has really happened yet. So, like when you first start, it's more of a prelude than anything else. So it kind of goes through the little bit of the history of Gears of War. I guess to give people that haven't really played or want that refresher, just to know certain tidbits that happened in there, which I thought was pretty cool. You start to learn a little bit about the characters, not too much, but names, things like that. But I can't really make too much of a judgment call just yet, just for the fact that I'm just now starting chapter one, and I mean, just from chapter
Okay,
one, I mean, the way everything is, it looks good. I mean, just just play it through it. It looks good, but the story seems like it's starting okay. I'm sure it's going to ramp up as we get into some of those further chapters. But right now, it's kind of just that getting used to a Gears of War field again. But that's about it.
I can dig it. What about you, Sin? What you think?
So far, I really like it. Like, even though me and you were just running through the prelude, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they would give us quote unquote a generic character, you know what I mean? Like, but it still felt like it was E Day, and you're running around and you're trying to stop this from happening, stop that, and with the other characters being involved, and then it would switch over to the new characters and try to do stuff like it. This right now, even in the prelude, the story feels really, really good, which Gears of War has done a great job with as far as 1, 2, and 3. I didn't play Judgment; I only played the first as far as numbers are concerned, right? So
dig
it
it.
feels, what I'm saying, like I'm back into those. Like it feels real good. Story's good so far. Uh, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to going through more of it and seeing what's going to happen and everything. But right now, it looks good, it plays good, it handles good. I'm like in horror mode, I'm like in story mode. It's I'm with it right now. I'm Can't wait to go do it some more. For real.
Dig it. Dig it. I agree. I think that so far, again, it's really early for
Mm-hmm.
us. But so far, I already like the new characters. Um, I think that there was, put it this way, we're early enough that we know Marcus Phoenix is in the game, and we
Mm-hmm.
haven't gotten to Marcus Phoenix. We haven't gotten to that point yet. So it's really early.
His son got the same jawline. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, he
That Hey, look,
should.
that's his. You can't say that's not your daddy.
Okay. Okay. um, but I, I like these characters. Like, I don't, I think that there were a lot of people who were concerned, like, you can't do this and not have, like, Marcus as, like, the star
Mm-hmm.
because he's Marcus Phoenix and you
Right.
need him. And I don't know. I just think that this completely proves that wrong. That, Gears is not necessarily about Marcus. To be honest with you, I don't even really care about the Gears of War story. For real. I just like playing the game.
Like real talk, I've not
Um,
felt like you just saying, like people feel like you can't do it without Marcus. Like the little bit that we played as far as story, like he didn't feel like nothing felt like it was missing. It felt organic going through it. You know what I mean? Even without technically
yeah.
knowing that's his son yet in the story. You know what I mean? Like it just felt natural running through it with those characters and hearing their banter and all that kind of stuff. It felt fine. It felt good going through it with them. I didn't feel like anything was
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I don't. I'm good
Yeah.
so far, and I mean, nothing ridiculous is happening that I guess I would say I didn't expect as far as the story is going. But yeah, I mean, so far so good. I don't have any issues with it. Uh, as far as the story is concerned, again, other than the fact that you can only play
Two
two
players, right?
player. That's
Which is it is
stupid.
a
Stupid.
fail on your part.
That's so stupid. look, I don't, I'm not a developer. I don't know what it would have taken in order to make it so you could play 3 people. Maybe they would have had to give up couch co-op, which a lot of people hated in Halo. Like, people were really mad that you couldn't do couch co-op in Halo. I don't truly understand why. Like, nobody really does that anymore. But I guess people just feel good about having the option. So, I think that having being a Microsoft developer and being under, that same kind of scrutiny, having done that with Halo, and just getting the feedback, maybe it was like, we cannot put out Gears and not have couch co-op. You know what I mean? And maybe that cost us the option to be able to have a third person to because it seems weird to me that you would take a story like Gears and you would add a third character and not make it so you could run with 3 people. As a matter of fact, the only other issue that I have right now is that I can't switch characters. Like, I don't want to be JD. God forbid I want to play as the black dude. So, you know what I mean? Seeing you always play as the female character, I think it's cool that they gave her to you. You were probably going to pick her anyway.
Was, absolutely. You know what I mean? And I had a feeling that if I am the second person that accepts the invite, I'm going to get her. You know what I mean? Like, just something. First person's going to get JD. Second person's going to get the girl. Third person's going to get the black guy. I hate to call him the black guy. I don't know his name yet, but I'll get it.
He's Dell.
Dell?
He's Dell.
Okay, so
Dell.
Third person's going to get Dell. So new Joker, you would get Dell.
Yeah. but I mean, he's just there currently.
Yeah.
So it's like, you put them there, you put out all the advertisements and so forth, like, yep, this is a squad of 3 people, here's the information about them, here's why they're all important, we know we're going to get a 4th at some point too when Marcus joins, but you made the game so that only 2 people can play it. So that actually leads me to believe that their initial intent was to make this a game that could be played with 3 people. I do really believe that's what they originally intended. Right now, if you want to play as Dell, the only way you're doing it is in Horde mode or Versus, that I can tell. Because I can't find a way to switch to them. Maybe I missed it. Let me know in the comments. Shoot me an email if I'm mistaken. Holla at me on Twitter or something. But, and it doesn't matter. I know that he won't play any differently. Don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I feel the same way about Halo with Spartan Locke. Like, people are all up in arms, like, I don't want to be him, I want to be Master Chief. Who cares? They play exactly the same. They play exactly the same way.
Besides the skin, there's no difference.
I mean, the HUD, that's different.
Besides the skin,
the HUD is different no matter what character you end up with.
Right. There's literally no difference to how they play.
There's no difference in.
You grab the
playing,
same guns and you shoot the same people. There's nothing different.
I don't know. You know what's funny is that maybe if Halo 5 had come out after Luke Cage, people would have been like, oh, I get to be Luke Cage in Halo.
Yeah, probably.
And they wouldn't have cared. Maybe that would have made a difference. Anything else you guys want to say? Any final thoughts on Gears of War 4?
I think we hit it on it.
I think it's great.
Cool.
I think if you don't have it, go get it. Even though we're still going through the process, going through the whole game and everything, but from what we've got to play, if you haven't got it, go get it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. I agree. All right, so let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk a little bit about some news. And we are back. So as we were saying earlier, gentlemen, for the 3rd month in a row, the Xbox has outsold the PlayStation 4.
Hey, kudos. No, for real, round of applause.
Yeah,
like,
that's a big congratulations.
Thing. Yeah, that's a big thing outside the U.S.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this is a U.S. thing. This isn't like, it's not like the Xbox has taken off in Japan and is now,
Hey,
you
look,
know what I mean?
I,
Like,
If that
hey, look.
happens, oh
I don't
boy.
know if I told you, New Joker, but I told B like that's not happening out there. Like I went to a department store out there, and I had to tell Toya like, look at Nintendo's section. They got a nice big section out here. Look at PlayStations, and now look at Nintendo. Look at Xboxes. They had the smallest section I've ever seen. They did have a display with Forza Horizon 3 on it. Nobody was playing there. Everybody was playing Pokemon on the DS, and everybody was playing like Persona 5, whatever it was, on the PlayStation. But like they have no
yeah,
presence out there whatsoever. Everything is blue, no green.
yeah. Why do you think that is? What do you think that? Why do you think Microsoft? I was actually gonna ask, what do you attribute, to Microsoft being ahead 3 months in a row, at least here? But uh, let's kind of take it on an international level. What is missing? What is wrong with Microsoft
On an
overseas? I
international
mean,
level.
especially in
Mm.
yeah. I mean, especially in Japan. What do you think it is that just? I mean,
I think in Japan they don't have the games that Japanese people like to play.
Yeah, I said that could be
I
one.
think
I
I think
I
I think
definitely
that's the thing as far as just Japan is concerned. As far as
yeah
outside of that, I think Forza might have helped as far as a just overall racing type of thing. And
yeah
honestly, being turn 10 being as good as they are when it comes to racing, you know what I mean? Like as far as a very broad spectrum, like being able to bring a lot of people into it. Uh, that might have helped boost sales. But I can say, like, going there and looking at, when I was out there, I was looking for, like, let me get a 2D fighter or something I can put on my Vita or something like that, something I can play without having to know Japanese. But I can get
right
through the menus and stuff just fine. But as I'm looking through all the games on the shelf, I'm like, dog, like Xbox is not hitting out here. Like it's nothing that was on the shelves was even remotely close to the stuff that we play as far as on the Xbox One.
yeah.
Like it.
I mean, I think that the Japanese gamers are, to us, what they like to play is quirky. It's quirky and it's still a little strange. And I think that part of it is that, like, American culture outside of America is it is a big deal, kind of like how here in the US there are those pockets of, like, there are people who like anime and kind of are like all the way
Mm-hmm.
into it, and go to like Otakon and want to dress up and like are in love with the Japanese culture or any other culture for that matter. I think you find a lot more of that in America than you find anywhere else, because in America it's such a melting pot. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of hate, you know what I mean, and resentment and other things towards other cultures in the United States. However, the United States is also one of the only places where you can go and just find so much of everything. And you can really immerse yourself in a culture that is not born and bred here. And the Japanese American culture, like what the pieces of America that have managed to infiltrate Japanese culture, more have to do with like music, hip hop, stuff like that, is bigger over there than most people over here would probably recognize or understand or know. Like, the people who tend to win like the breakdance contests a lot of times are Japanese. You know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
like Korean or something like that. So, as far as like the kinds of games that we like to play versus what they like to
Mm-hmm.
play, there's a market. We grew up on the Japanese culture of video games.
Hmm.
We just we just did. They're kind of strange and kind of quirky, but truth be told, I think to a certain extent, if it was up to us, there would never have probably been. Maybe there was a Final Fantasy, but maybe more just Dragon Quest. I mean, we played our role playing games on paper. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. It's not the same thing. Games like a Danganronpa or
Oh,
even Dance
that
Dance
joint. Oh my
games.
gosh, I need to buy the next joint. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that
just
joint's big out there.
I think that Microsoft has struggled to get those kinds of games and release them on their system. And the kinds of games like there is a big presence for games like Call of Duty in Japan and outside of here, but it's like just those. Like so Activision's doing really well. And as long as that game is available on a Japanese system, I think that's part
I
of
think
it,
Xbox
right? That
needs to take a PlayStation stance. Like they release those joints on their system. They be digital only. Very few things get physical copies now. You know what I mean? But Xbox, like it took forever for them to say that. For me to be able to buy, I would say the One Piece joint, Burning Blood, before it was available to purchase. I got it on
yeah.
PlayStation first. It
Yeah, but
took forever.
that may not be specific to. I mean, again, that could be something that's a deal that got bartered. See, again, I think a lot of what's happening with Microsoft is that they are, when it comes to a lot of the publishers, those publishers are Japanese publishers. You know what I mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
Japanese publishers and developers, and it's much easier for Sony to have a relationship with
That's
them. If for no other reason than the fact that they're Japanese, not even just because they're in the same
that's
country.
no, that's
You know what I'm
fine. I'm
saying?
just saying, reach out and try to get more of that stuff. I would say in the Xbox stores and stuff like that to download, like the Sword Art Onlines, the God Eaters, all that kind of stuff. Like just
But I
just
think
just get
Right.
them
That's
another
there as
but
far as
that's
on
but that's my
PlayStation.
point.
Yeah, and I think loyalty definitely plays a piece in that. I mean, just speaking on Japan in itself, I just think because of the loyalty to say like your Sony and to your Nintendo, I think that also plays a big role in why a lot of people don't flock towards like say the Xbox as much. I mean, granted, the games of course are normally is what would sell the console,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that loyalty piece is just something else that's in there as well too.
I agree. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's kind of the same thing. Like I think that there's a again on this side where we live, um, we all of our stuff is imported. You know what I mean? Like we shop at IKEA. That's not American made stuff. How many
So the
people
way
do
that
you
stuff is
what
spelled,
TV
hell no.
what TV have you ever purchased that was made by an American company? You understand what I'm saying? What manufacturer makes TVs in America, for that
Now I
matter?
think about it, I've never seen a Chevy television.
Yeah, you know what I
Just
mean. So I'm just
nah.
saying, like we live in a place where we're used to, whether we like it or realize it or know it or not, we're used to supporting, products that are manufactured by companies that are outside of the United States. Most of the stuff that we've used, even the toys that we had growing up, were made in China, or the game systems that we played were Japanese. The developers that made those games were Japanese, and so Microsoft kind of comes along, does the first Xbox, and the first Xbox, they made the controller too big. Japanese people wouldn't touch it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't want to deal with it. With the 360, certainly Microsoft made a concerted effort to try, by having, exclusive stuff, your Lost Odysseys and your Blue Dragons and all that kind of stuff. Like they made some efforts, but they seem to still kind of make those efforts specifically towards the kinds of things that we would play too, and not necessarily ones that were. I mean, again, I'm not in Japan. I know that there are games that get released for the Xbox, say in Japan, that don't get released, here. But I do think it's just kind of a cultural thing where when you go to another country, there's a lot less that's imported and far more that's exported. If that makes sense. And so culturally, if you grow up, outside of the United States, or maybe Australia or certain parts of Europe, if you're in Japan or somewhere like that, many of the things that you're going to see and know, learn on, and play come from within your own culture. And that's what they know, and that's what you're used to. So much of the culture here is based on every other culture. So, you know, I think that the things that are specific to us, if you look at Microsoft's lineup of games, a game like Gears of War, I don't think in any way, shape, or form appeals to Japanese gamers. You know what I mean? So how do you, when Microsoft says we have the greatest games lineup in the history of Xbox, and you look at what those games are, Halo, does that appeal to Japanese gamers? I don't. I mean, it could. I mean,
May I think it's a
it's dudes
maybe.
in big suits, but they not mechs.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
it's,
Yeah, you're
you know what
right.
I
Yeah,
mean.
maybe like just because Gears. Right. I don't see that. I don't see Gears appealing over there at
Yeah,
all. Yeah, absolutely. Nah.
yeah. I
Halo
mean,
more than
for
Gears, but yeah, nah.
yeah, I mean, Forza could, I suppose. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what it is. Now, what do you guys think is causing this boost that Microsoft has been seeing over the past 3 months here in the states?
I mean, I think it's just what the Xbox One S just has in the box with it. I mean, for the price point, I mean, the Blu-ray player, 4K Blu-ray player, being able to do that, I think that's one piece of it. Because maybe if you weren't thinking about buying a game system initially, if you maybe say you bought your 4K TV and you were going to get the 4K Blu-ray player, you're going to drop just about the same price for just that Blu-ray player by itself. So why not get it inside of a game system that'll give you more for about the same price?
Yeah.
Small piece of the puzzle.
Uh,
And then for those that
Do you think?
maybe, oh, go.
I was gonna say, do you think that to a certain extent maybe the PlayStation has peaked in terms of like again there are so many, it's like 40 million plus PlayStation 4s out there. So could it just be that at this point people have a PlayStation 4 and they don't have an Xbox One and now they're just ready to get one, and that the Xbox One S has just come along at the right time when people were like, well, yeah, I could go ahead and drop, you know what I mean, plus the 4K, you know what I mean? Is it just that, I mean, I have to imagine that a lot of these sales are coming from people who already have a PlayStation 4 and just never bought an Xbox One. Maybe they
True,
had a 360 or got rid of their 360.
true.
Um,
And then some other small pieces that, some people only would buy the PlayStation for one fact, and that was at the time they didn't have to pay for online gameplay. Like your multiplayer and all that it was just given to you. And then now, since with the switches, of course, they realized they were losing out on that money that they could have been making. Same thing on Microsoft was already doing Xbox Live. Maybe a small piece, since there's not really that difference anymore, why not I just get an Xbox now?
yeah, but that's something that's been a thing ever since the PS4 came out. You know what I mean? It wasn't a thing on PS3, but for the past 3 years, that Sony has been outselling hand over fist. You know, the Xbox One, you've had to pay if you wanted to play online. It's just what it is. Um, do you guys think there's anything? I mean, look, I can certainly see them, Microsoft moving more units in terms of digital games sold, considering the new Xbox Anywhere. There's 3 games now, right? It's Gears, Forza, and Recore. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see the Recores like selling like
Nah,
crazy. I mean, the
nah.
game reviewed okay. It's doing all right. It's not an expensive game. It's $40. But I'm sure a lot of people are waiting before they decide to jump on that. But now you have a lot of people who don't have an Xbox One, maybe got rid of their Xbox One or decided they didn't need one because they can just buy digitally and play on their PC. So maybe they're seeing a boost in the sales, that are, you know, specifically software. But to see that boost in hardware, do you think any of it could be? I'm gonna direct this one at you, Sam. Do you think any of it could be because maybe people are waiting until November to buy the PlayStation 4 Pro?
Uh, hmm. I think that could be it. Uh, that PS Pro obviously is going to be something to contend with when it comes out, regardless of how you feel about either Microsoft or Sony. Uh, but their sales going up. Look,
I mean, again, it's not necessarily so much that Microsoft sales have gone up. Could just be that PlayStation 4 sales have stifled and hit a
I
plateau.
mean,
And
regardless, I
so,
like it because it breeds competition. You know what I mean? Between the big two
yeah, I'm good with
that we
that.
like to see. You know what I'm saying? Go back and forth. Each one makes the other one better. That's you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the fact that Microsoft is one in sales these past 2 months or so, going to this other one. Uh, wow, that's a good. That's really honestly a good question as far as how it's going. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about it, and I don't know. I'm stumped on it, trying to analyze it right now.
I mean, obviously that could be part of it, I
Yeah,
guess, right? That maybe some people are just like, well, I'm just gonna wait,
yeah,
and then I'm gonna trade in my PlayStation 4 and get a PlayStation 4 Pro. And so maybe you just have people who, or it could just be people who would have bought a PlayStation 4, and they're like, well, there's no point in me buying one now.
right,
I'm just gonna wait until November, and I'm gonna buy a PS4 Pro. Like again, which is where I was. You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
Like I'm just gonna wait, and I'm gonna buy one. Again, I got lucky and somebody was selling one for $100, so I got a PlayStation 4. But otherwise, I would be waiting until this holiday, and I would be purchasing a PS4 Pro because it just wouldn't be worth it for me to buy a regular one. Um, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense anyway. But maybe that's what it is. Do you guys think that this is? I mean, are we looking at this kind of new console iteration thing, not necessarily console generation thing, but this console iteration thing? Um, are we looking at, you consider, okay, there's going to be the Scorpio, whatever's going to be called, that's next year, right? The PS4 Pro is this year. So now we have a year split between them, but obviously the Xbox is supposed to be a lot more powerful.
right.
That'll be 2017. Now, these systems came out in 2013.
Oof.
So 5 years is really more of a standard for how long a generation normally lasts. Meaning that technically, come 2018, Sony could be like, here comes a PlayStation 5.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they really could. Because I think now we're at a point where it's how do you decide when to stop iterating on the same system and jump to the new
Right.
thing, right? Like, how do you know when's the right time to do that? Because if you don't play it just right, you know what I mean? If Sony comes out and says, here's a PlayStation 5, and if the PlayStation 5 is only slightly more powerful than the Xbox One Elite, that's what I'm going with. I think it's going to be called the Xbox One Elite.
Okay.
If it's marginally more
Right. It
powerful
was
than
like
the
just
Xbox One
slightly
Elite,
more powerful. I feel what you're saying. Yeah.
then does Microsoft even feel the need to go, well, here's the Xbox 2, right? Or what, whatever they
Right.
call the next Xbox. Like, do they feel the need to say, okay, well, we came out in 2013, it's 2019, time for a brand new system? When we know that Microsoft's, the idea right now with Phil Spencer at the helm is, we want to make sure that all the stuff that you have bought will continue to
Right.
work, even when they go to a new system. And then the question becomes, what do the significant differences have to be from the original setup and this new iteration of that setup versus the new one, right? So what can Sony do? If in 2018 Sony says we're doing PlayStation 5, what in the world does that what do they have to have on it to make it so much better or different from PS4 Pro, other than maybe having a 4K player in it, which you know what I mean, this probably should have, but and a bigger hard drive. Obviously it's going to be more powerful, but they don't necessarily have to leave the PlayStation 4. It could be the PlayStation 4 Pro point 2.
Right.
I don't know, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you say, okay, well, here are the physical differences
Right.
that make it worth actually calling this the PlayStation 5? You know what I mean? Is it a new controller design? Because if it's that, We already got a little bit of that with the Pro, and we definitely got that technically twice already with the Xbox One.
Right.
From the regular controller to the Elite controller to the newer one that comes with the 1S with the grip on the bottom. And you know what I mean? Like, we're already seeing iterations on the controller. So what's the thing that says, oh, yeah, no, this is clearly you need this. This is the PlayStation 5. Trade your old joint in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would have to be an absolute world of a difference. Because, I mean, other than performance, better video card, maybe deciding to completely go digital. Maybe there's no drive per se. I mean, something along the lines of that. But it would have to be something major.
So here's what I kind of want to throw out there. This is just a thought. A lot of what's been happening with the video game console change has been compared mostly to cell phones, right? A lot of times it's the iPhone. You get the iPhone 7 and then you get the iPhone 7S. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you just get the slimmer, and then eventually they put out a new one. But still, more than anything, it's really just an upgrade. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't necessarily have to have it. Some people feel like, I gotta have it, it's the new one. But like, there are people with an iPhone 5 now who are fine. They're just like, yeah, my contract's almost up, and then I'll switch to whatever happens to be the thing. You know what I mean? But I'm beginning to feel like there's a possibility that consoles, because they're so closely tied into PCs anyway, ever since the original Xbox, home consoles have been more like a PC, a home PC, right? With a hard drive in it and, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? Graphics card and all that. Mm-hmm. Think about the way that laptops work right now, or tablets, right? How many different tablets does Dell make for a particular year? Not just as a whole, you know what I'm saying? But like, for the year of 2017 upcoming, how many different models will they have? They'll have ones that are the same power with a larger screen size.
Around 10 to 12.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many different models, like, if you look at Lenovo or, you know, whoever it is that manufactures stuff, that are all running Microsoft software, you know, for the most part, by the way, right? Like, Apple puts out, I don't even know how many, like, they put out a couple different versions, you know, that have, this one has a little bit more power, this one doesn't have as much power, but has a bigger hard drive. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like, I'm almost beginning to feel like that might be the direction we're going to start going in, where it's like, no, these all sit together. They are all part of the same family, right? Like, Dell has the XPS. Isn't that what it's called? The Dell XPS or whatever. But there are different numbers or whatever on the XPS. This is the XPS this, and this is the XPS this, and this is the XPS this, right? And like Samsung, when you look at TVs, they, you know, have the U something something 7000 and like the D something something 7000 and the M something something 7000, and obviously they have them all in different sizes and that, you know. But as far as like, this model has these features in these sizes, and then this model has these features in this size, and this model has these features in this sizes. Same company, you know what I mean? But so you, like, here's a different option.
So what you're saying is you think that Microsoft and Sony, as far as Xbox and PlayStation are concerned, are going to do models in that form, like this has A, B, and C in it, and they cost these prices to get them.
I guess more a way to say a half step.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Isn't that, all right, look, we kind of have that now, right? Like, we know the Xbox One S is out. We always talk about the Xbox One S, and that's all we ever say. We say Xbox One S. But truthfully, there are like 3 different versions of the Xbox One S because there are 3 different hard drive sizes. There's a 500, a 1 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte size, and they are all different prices. They work the same. They do the exact same thing. You just have more memory. You have the exact same thing with PCs, right? Or laptops or tablets. You have, this is the exact same model, but I got the one that has this memory. You have the same thing in phones too, right? I got an iPhone 7 that has this much memory in it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, right? This much hard drive space. Same thing. So we began to stop really thinking about so much like what it became just a yearly thing. Like, every year Samsung's putting out new TVs. Every year, Apple's going to put out a new MacBook. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already know that. Dell's going to do new versions of their stuff every year. And they're going to keep some of the same lines. Think about like cars. Same thing. Right? You could have a Ford Focus that's a Ford Focus from 2013, 14, 15, 16. There'll be one for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same name, same style, same basic setup, same body, for the most part. New features. That's it. New features, higher price. This one's new. That's why you pay more for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. And that's, how I'm starting to feel like this is going to go. Right? You have the PlayStation 4, which, whether they say the Slim is replacing the 4 or not, the fact of the matter is the 4s will still always be out there. They'll still be available somewhere, used, still some new in a box somewhere or whatever. So you technically have a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 4 Slim, and you'll have a PlayStation Pro. Right? You have an Xbox One. You have an Xbox One that has 3 or 4 different hard drive sizes. You have an Xbox One S that has 3 or 4 different hard drive sizes. And now you're going to have an Xbox Scorpio or an Xbox Elite that will have 3 or 4 different hard drives. There's no way the Elite doesn't come out and have multiple hard drive sizes. There will be one that is, because everybody talks Xbox One S, $299. It's the cheapest, whatever you can get. But that's a 500 gig. Sure, you can add an external hard drive and do whatever you want. I wouldn't buy an Xbox One S that has a bigger hard drive in it. It's not worth the additional money to me because I already have like 7 external gigs that I can just unplug from the one I'm using and plug it into that. I'm good. Right? And I'm going to do the exact same thing with a Scorpio or an Elite. I swear, I'm sticking with it. The Xbox Elite is coming. And I don't need to get the most expensive one with the biggest hard drive unless there's something else that it does that the other ones don't do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to use an external hard drive. So, in that kind of where we're going, I think it's more like laptops and tablets, maybe even TVs, where it'll just be like, whatever your surround sound system is, you got a surround sound system you've had for 5 to 10 years. It still works, does everything you want. Until they decide, oh yeah, by the way, everything needs to be HDMI now. Like, oh, okay, well now I need a new receiver. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Like, yeah, they get new options and they put out new ones every year. Somebody's always buying the newest thing. But they doesn't stop them from making tons and tons and tons of those units. And Sony is a company that's used to manufacturing hardware like that, right? That's what they do. So that's what I'm thinking. Does that have any validity to it?
Definitely.
We could just keep getting new ones every year, every 2 years. You know what I mean? It might just be like, all right. And they could end up with the same kind of ridiculous model numbers that like TVs and stuff have, and it just become a regular thing. Like right now, it's kind of like you want there to be spectacle. Oh man, here comes the new Xbox. It's been so long since I got one, whatever. And it could just be they just keep putting ones out, and it's like when you're ready to upgrade, you upgrade. You know what I mean? Or it gets to the point where like, just like with your phone, eventually the operating system that's on your phone, or your phone is so old you can't upgrade to the new operating system, which means like you just can't run certain software, certain games. And so as long as what you have keeps working, eventually you'll just be like, all right, well, it's time to go up to the new one. You know what I mean? And you stay in that ecosystem because you bought all these digital games and you have all this stuff and you bought all this music or these TV shows and stuff that you can't use anywhere else. But at least on the Xbox, they work on your computer too. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we might start getting this every year, dog. Every year. Would that be bad?
It'd be annoying.
I don't know if I'd be ready to do it every single year. I wouldn't want to do it every single year.
Yeah. Yeah, but you wouldn't upgrade every year, I don't think. I think you would look at it and you would make a logical decision. And you would just be like you don't upgrade your computer every year. Right? How old's your computer? New Joker?
2012.
Okay. Is it time for a new one?
Yeah, because it's funny that you say that. I actually just got the alert not too long ago about having my battery service. So even though that's a slight thing, that
Yo,
kind of gives
battery
me the
service
excuse to
on
get a
your
new one.
PC?
Well,
On his
my
laptop.
my laptop, my MacBook.
Either way,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
terrible.
no, well if you want to talk about that, my desktop, I probably got that in probably was that following year, 2013. But that one is there's absolutely no need to upgrade that because when I got that with pretty decent specs in there, and it's a desktop, so I can kind of swap stuff in and out there as much as I wanted to almost.
Right. Well, I mean, unless consoles become modular, isn't that kind of the same thing? I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, technically, right now, there's a new Xbox One that's available to me that is a little bit faster. You know what I mean? Whether they harp on it or not, it's a little bit faster, right? It's got some upgraded stuff in it, and it has a 4K player. Now, I don't have the TV yet, but even if I had a 4K TV, I wouldn't have to upgrade. Like, it's not like they're putting out games that I can't play right now. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So I don't have to do anything. But there's a new version that exists. You know what I mean? And I know there's another one coming. Just like the new iPhone just dropped, and we know there's another one coming.
Mm-hmm.
Period. 6 months. You know it. It's like clockwork. I don't even know why they pretend it's not happening. 6 months, like clockwork. There's another one coming. So, I mean, I think it's just whether or not whatever the newest stuff is and the bells and whistles, whether they speak to you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're going to shell out some money to do it. A computer certainly is more expensive than a console. But if you can put, multiple ones out there and say, yeah, these are the options that you have, and you can do this, and they can get you, and then get you in that ecosystem and get you to start doing stuff digitally where you can't trade, so to speak, even though they're working on stuff like that, like being able to trade or whatever, then what? You just, all right, well, it's been a couple years now. I think I'll get a new Xbox One. You know what I mean? Like 5 years from now, you could be like, I'm going to get the new Xbox One. And it could still just be the Xbox. Or they'll just call it Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Or they might just call it PlayStation. And that'll be it. It's just, this is the new PlayStation. They did that with the iPads, didn't they?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
iPads, it was like iPad 1, and they had a couple versions, and iPad 2, and then like 3,
Well,
and
no,
then I think they just went to new iPad or something like that.
iPad 1, 2, and then there was 3 and 4. The third one, they didn't necessarily call it the third one, and then after the fourth one, they started doing like iPad Air, Air 2,
Right.
Pro, so on and so forth till we get to that.
Yeah, same. They just stop. You know what I mean? It's just like at some point, it may just be that like this is just Xbox. I mean, remember that when they said that the name of the Xbox was the Xbox One, they said it's the one because it is going to be a thing that's tied into everything. Like it completes the circle. Like, yeah, 360 and 1 are supposed to be the same thing. That it's like it's all in one. So everything's got Windows 10, right? So eventually, they will go to Windows 11. And when they do that, and they introduce a new Xbox that uses Windows 11, and you can no longer update, because Xbox, when Xbox Ones came out, they ran on Windows 8. They've all been updated to Windows 10. So Windows 11 drops, and you can't upgrade the original Xbox One to Windows 11 because it can't run it. It'll be time for a new Xbox. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where they're going with this. Same thing with your computer. You know what I mean? Now, how Sony handles it, because they don't necessarily do OSs the same way, who knows? And that may become the dividing factor between the home consoles. Could be that. Who knows what Nintendo's going to do? They're going back to cartridges, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? So, who knows what that means? But, yeah, man, I'm thinking it's going to be more like computers. It's just going to be like, yeah, these are the models that are available this year. Just get the one you need when it's time. And we're just going to keep upgrading the operating systems. You know what I mean? We'll just keep, with the components that are in those systems being the same as what are in computers, and having so many companies that make those, it's not like Microsoft is going to be like, it's not like a 3DO. They tried that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what a 3DO was. Like, anybody could make one. Same thing with Steambox. Anybody could make one. And you just get the components or whatever and you put it in and it just runs the OS. So, in principle, it's the same thing. All it would really take is technically for somebody to be like, well, this is an Xbox One. It's a tablet that's designed to connect to your TV that runs the software. And you play all your stuff digitally. Which is kind of what you're doing anyway if you're playing on like a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
So, and hook it up to your TV. So, I don't know. Anyway, gentlemen, I think that's good for today. I think that's a good discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about the way that console hardware is beginning to iterate and what you think the future holds overall. Certainly share your feelings with us about how Microsoft is doing internationally versus at home, and what you think they need to do differently, what Sony needs to do differently as well. I certainly love to hear it. You can certainly hit us up, loadingsnacks@gmail.com. Shoot us an email there. Hit us on, all the socials, your Twitter and Facebook and all that. We're at Loading Snacks, Instagram. If you guys want to get at me specifically, I'm Empty Shells on Twitter and Instagram, Xbox Live and PlayStation. Also Empty Shells, but it's a space between the M and the T and the S. And by all means, feel free to shoot me a personal email. I'm Gage, Gage, .loadingsnacks@gmail.com. New Joker, tell the folks how they can get a hold of you.
Yes, sir. So if you guys want to shoot me an email, that's newjoker.loadingsnacks@gmail.com. If you want to get at me on Instagram and Twitter, also on the gaming consoles, it's newjoker89. And on Facebook, you can catch me at New Joker's Adventures.
Sin.
Yeah, y'all can reach me at email, sin.loadingsnacks@gmail.com. If you want to reach me on Xbox Live, Twitter, Instagram, all of those, it's sincere619. If you want to hit me up on PlayStation or Snapchat, it's the same thing. Just replace that I with an L, and you can find me there.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for another wonderful episode of Snacking and Hanging. This has been episode 39. We will see you at 40 in a week.
Pretty much, yeah.
With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.